A fan favorite of DJ Hours, John Mateer.
Oh, I love this man.
Is no longer at Washington State throwing for a bajillion yards. He is now playing in Norman, Oklahoma for Brent Venables and the Sooners. And people are really split on this team.
in Oklahoma.
Yeah, we're going to get to you. Just please
You relax.
hold your tongue as a Texas fan until we get to you, and then you can spew
Mike's
your hate.
never held his tongue.
Yeah, no, he's never done it. Ryan, you've been a big fan of John Mateer. You and Intern Johnson been all over him, rightly so. I mean,
he's a freak.
Throwing for crazy stats at Washington State. And a lot of people are split on how this Oklahoma team is going to do this year. But
Tough.
the question for this episode is, can John Mateer take Oklahoma to the college football playoffs?
My answer is 100%.
Wow.
I think this is going to be the best dual threat quarterback in the country. I don't think it'll be close. He has the passing to do it. They didn't throw a lot at Washington State, personally, for him. They were in high-scoring games with a lot of rushing ability. He ran the ball, though, better than anyone I've ever seen.
15 rushing touchdowns.
Yeah, and he had 900 rushing yards. I mean, this is going to be... He's just a freak of nature. He's a quarterback you want. He's like Jalen Milroe, but can throw and has common sense. So, like, it's a perfect...
So like a dual threat quarterback.
Exactly. A perfect dual threat. And also, he never turns the ball over. It's like a perfect... He had more touchdowns than Cam Ward total last year. So, like...
Yeah, 44.
Yeah.
Led the nation.
That's what I'm saying. I just think he's a freak. It's going to be tough. Don't get me wrong. Playing against different level of competition, go to a different conference like this. Oklahoma has, I think, the hardest schedule or one of the hardest schedules we've already talked about.
Every year.
And yeah, I understand that fully. But this is a team that I personally think Venables is locked in with this defense. They haven't had a bad defense. Their defense always carries them. They haven't had an offense with an explosive five-star player. When they do have that, they make the playoffs. Just in general. It happens. It's what they do. I think this is the year. They brought in Jaden Ott. I think this rushing attack will be unbelievable.
Yeah,
but
the RPOs.
I can see the props every week.
no, I mean, I'm a tear in my head right now. I'm twitching.
Team total over rushing yards is going to be an obscene number.
No, I'm shaking
like
in my boots.
198.
But yeah, I think with this, if this offense is half as good as I think they can be, the defense is locked down. You have the best probably defensive coach in the league. Oklahoma's going to be fine on defense. I think it's a tough schedule, but hey, if they're good on defense and their offense is as good as I think they will be, I think John Mateer will take this team to the college football playoff.
Well,
maybe not SEC championship.
You know what the odds are on that?
To make the playoffs? 1150.
Plus 520.
Wow. I mean, they love me.
Yeah.
Oh, you think you
That's a good bet. You get 5.2 to 1 on Oklahoma making the playoffs. So yeah, like Ryan said, Mateer at Washington State led the country in touchdowns, and it wasn't just passing. It was 29 passing, 15 rushing. Threw for 3150 yards, rushed for 850. He averaged 330 yards per game of offense on his own. He was a finalist for the Manning Award, and he made the Davey O'Brien Award watch list for one of the best players in the country. So, absolute stud at quarterback transfer. I honestly think it's potentially a better transfer than Carson back to Miami or even Nico to UCLA, especially from a fit perspective. Because like you said, the defense, they haven't statistically looked amazing, but it's because they're on the field 24/7.
They're right there.
The games are there, and then the other team has the ball for 80% of the game, and it's like, all right, they're eventually going to like break. It's not some wall. It's a stacked transfer class too, man. I mean, they had Jaden Ott, and then they had one of the best offensive tackles, and Derek Simmons come into the program.
So smart.
So they're going to be running the RPO behind him. He's 8th in Heisman odds for a reason at plus 1900. But I'm saying they're not making the playoffs. I'm going with Vegas on this one, and it's strictly because of the schedule. The win total is 6.5. It is minus 162, so it's probably something closer to like 7.1. But I think they hit the over. You need 10 wins to make the college football playoffs, right? Until we're proven otherwise, for an at-large team, you need 10 wins. That's the number. So you can only lose 2 games. Granted, I'm going to talk about their schedule in a sec, but this could be the team to make it without 10. If they have 9 wins with the schedule, there's a really good case for an at-large over like a 10-win ACC, 10-win Big 12.
Yeah.
But they play Michigan, Auburn, Texas, at South Carolina, Ole Miss, at Tennessee, at Alabama, and end the season with LSU.
I mean,
they're going to play 8 teams ranked inside the top 20 this year. Half of them on the road. So, like, I don't care. I actually don't care what team you put with this schedule. I would probably never bet on any team in the country. I don't care if it's Clemson, Ohio State, Texas. I do not care. If you have this schedule, you're not winning 10 games. Like, if you do, you should be the 1 seed. Yeah. If they are 10-2 with this record. I don't care what they do. They should be the 1 seed. They're going to play the biggest gauntlet. These are college football playoff games every week.
Yeah.
Like they might play 6 teams that make the college football playoffs. And so I can't bet them to make the playoffs here. And I think it could be, if they win 8 games with the schedule, it's honestly not even a bad year, but no one's going to look at it like a successful season, which really does suck. Because I'm never a guy that's all over the SEC, because I think some of the teams in the SEC are really overrated, but I actually don't think they play the overrated teams this year. I mean, when you're looking at teams like they're out of conference. I mean, they play Michigan for out of conference, which is crazy. You should just schedule yourself a cupcake, please. And then, I mean, like Auburn, Texas, at South Carolina, Ole Miss, at Tennessee, at Bama, LSU. Those are the teams that can make the playoffs in the SEC besides Georgia.
Yeah.
They don't play any of the Missouris, they're not doing that. So I think it's a really, really tough and unfortunate draw for a team I think could be one of the most electric in the country. So I love Mateer. I love the ad. I just can't get behind 10 wins here.
Yeah, that's tough.
Yeah, I was not a fan of these notes because I hate Oklahoma, and I think Venables is doing some outstanding plays during this offseason. I think getting Mateer, and not only Mateer, this is actually one of the biggest news that I found with these notes is it's not only him, but his previous offensive coordinator and quarterbacks coach. His name is something Arbuckle. Ben Arbuckle came with him over to Oklahoma. I think that's one of those things.
Exact same offense.
Yeah, and I think that's one of those things where we talked about.
It's a wrap.
Back in the day, or when we talk about NIL stuff, whatever. A lot of the reasons that players want to transfer or give an excuse to transfer or get out of a system that they previously committed to is because their coach is gone. I mean, Mateer and his coach are together moving into a system that's arguably going to be better.
With full control of the offense.
With full control of the offense. I mean, I think this is the greatest pairing transfer news ever.
Yeah.
At least for,
good pull. I forgot to say that.
Recent SEC transfers or whatever. But just one more statistical thing to throw out because I'm not going to repeat what Tyler and Ryan said. But just 2 cool things is he's one of only 2 quarterbacks with 18 plus big time throws and 50, and separately, he has 50 plus forced missed tackles. So, I mean, the guy has absolute wheels. And not only that, he has an absolute cannon. I mean, he's the definition of a dual threat quarterback there.
What's his Heisman odds? Well, Michael's talking. Just
eighth in Heisman odds at plus 1900.
Wow.
They know, bro. They know.
Yeah, I think the schedule is going to make him seem a lot worse.
His
so
stats
that's why.
are the defenses they're playing too.
Well, I'm actually about to get into that. But before I do, I also need to give more flowers to Venables, which pissing me off. Pissing myself off. But they are probably the only team that I've seen, actually maybe besides Notre Dame, I think, or Penn State, who's returning all 5 of their offensive line starters. Mm-hmm. So last year, Oklahoma it was the most fun time I've ever had watching football because they just couldn't get any type of consistency with their O-line. They did, I think, 7 different rotations of their front 5. They finally got one to stick.
Didn't they have everyone hurt, though?
I don't care.
They had the top 9.
I don't care what
all their offense.
Excuses.
Like the receivers, right?
9 of their 11 players didn't play in half the season.
Excuses.
They had not one first or second string receiver for all cycles before. 8 of them were injured.
That's why Jackson was throwing a ghost.
Yeah, but
and he was terrible.
But we're talking about the O-line here. It seems like Venables got it hammered. Doesn't seem like it. He got them hammered down. He has 5 starters returning, along with a 5-star transfer for the offensive line. His name is Michael Fasusi. I think he's going to be, whether he rotates in occasionally and plays in big spots, or he earns a spot as a starter, I think that's a big grab. I think this offensive line is going to be lethal for a guy like John Mateer. But talking about what Tyler just said, quickly, we're going to look at the teams that Washington State played last year. Just very, very quick. It includes Portland State, Texas Tech, Washington, San Jose State, Boise State, Fresno State, Hawaii, San Diego State, Utah State. I mean, literal garbage teams. Yeah. And when you actually crunch the numbers and you rank all of these teams by opponents' points allowed, the average ranking ends up at 87.8 out of 133 teams nationally. pretty low in my personal.
Very low for an average. Yeah.
Very low for a national statistic. And then you come up to these upcoming schedule, similarly to what Tyler pointed out. You're playing your out-of-conference games with like Michigan, and then you have your in-conference SEC gauntlet of Auburn, Texas, South Carolina, Ole Miss, Tennessee, Alabama, Missouri, LSU. Again, you do the same number crunching. You rank them all by points allowed. And then you also factor in that they play teams like Temple, Illinois State, and Kent State. Kent State with a little asterisk because they are boasting 133rd of 133rd in opponent points allowed. So they're the worst statistical defense calculated.
And that's in the average, yeah.
That's in the average. But the average ranking for the upcoming defense is 59. So a significant jump in, opponent difficulty there. And long story short, I think John Mateer is unbelievably naturally gifted. I think he showed it last year how big of a dual threat he is. I think Venables did a great job of pretty much giving him all of the pieces anybody could ever dream of having and going, do whatever, like do the best you can. And I mean, what is there to complain about if you are, what's his name? John Mateer. But I think the SEC is going to prove to be a different gauntlet for him. I think the only area where he has proved a little bit questionable is when he's forced to throw on the run instead of just choosing to throw or to run. I think, playing in more difficult teams, they're going to put him in more difficult situations on a little bit more of a higher percentage occasion. Altogether, I think it was a great move to grab Arbuckle and Mateer together, but Oklahoma still and forever sucks.
Wow, Mike, that might have been the best deep dive you've ever done to a team.
Thank you.
Including Texas.
Thank you.
He loves Oklahoma.
You were making metrics there.
Know thy enemy.
Yeah.
Know thy enemy.
That's actually fair. You do hate them quite a bit. Might as well know a lot.
No, I despise
Should be a
them.
fun Cotton Bowl this year.
Yeah.
It's going to be electric. Oh, my God.
Mario, what do you think? Can you take him to the playoffs?
Can he take him to the playoffs? Slim chance, but I think he can. I'm not going to harp too much on the positions because I know you guys have touched a lot on, especially Mike, pretty much hit everything. My questions with this team, I like Mateer, I like Ott. O-line's coming back. For me, it's just the wide receiver group. It's not the best. I think Mateer is going to have to make these guys a little bit better. They lost a lot of people. A lot of their wide receivers from last year transferred out, like Jalil Farouk transferred away. J.J. Hester went to Kentucky. Nick Anderson went to LSU. Yeah. Like, they have, when your top receivers are from Arkansas, transfers from Arkansas, Pine Bluff, McNeese, and Deion Burks from Purdue, these aren't the top guys. I think that's what's going to be their limitation. Defense should be okay. I don't think they're going to be, elite, but I think they'll be good on defense. I think they'll have a good offense. I just don't see that upper echelon elite ceiling for this team because of the wide receiver group. Because of that, I still think they'll win. I think this could be the team that has 9 wins and makes the college football playoff. I have them. So I love the over 6.5. I have them winning 9 games. If they go over that, then this team's, especially these receivers, are just way better.
No, it's one of the best teams in the modern.
They're going to be top
they go over
5 in
So then they're a great team. But yeah, I have them winning 9 games. Have them over. I think if they win 9 games, I actually feel pretty confident that they would be the team that gets let in because
there's no way.
If you're losing, if their 3 losses are to Texas, LSU, and I don't know, just throw Bama in there or something and LSU's good and Texas is good, then you can't really hold those losses.
And they still beat
them.
Tennessee, Michigan,
South Carolina,
all the other guys.
Ole Miss.
So that's how I see this team. Should be it'll definitely be an improvement from last year. Should be exciting.
The sprinkle on plus 520 to make the playoffs could be a fun one just to hold.
I'm having that.
I don't think there's enough value there because it doesn't make sense that their over is, you said 6.5 or
6.5.
Right? 6.5.
Minus 165.
So it doesn't
that
doesn't
remember
correlate.
their championship odd or their Heisman odd was what? Only 19
plus
to
1900.
And that was what? Right.
8th.
If you hold the 8th best quarterback or 8th best player in the country.
Well, I was gonna say, and 2 of those players ahead of them are wide receivers.
I'm
Ryan Williams and
only 5 to 1 to make.
Oh,
Your win total 6.5.
That's why I love it. That's why I love it.
One thing on their wide receivers, by the way, I do think
shout out Deion Burks.
2 of their top 4 will be starters or will be freshmen. They have 2 4-star freshmen, including one who's top 10 overall, and Elijah Thomas. So
that is a big deal.
I think it is likely they go young, and you've seen freshman receivers be able to play well.
They have a good returning guy. That's it.
But
and they have Mateer. I mean, they just have to get open.
They don't even have to. I think they'll be able to figure out. But this will be a fun team to watch. Let us know what you think in the comments about Oklahoma football heading into next year.
This team is electric.
They could be a really cool one to watch, and I mean they're gonna have a lot of fun games.
Yeah,
like this will be a really
for sure.
I don't care what their record is. They can be undefeated. They could have lost 4 games. You're tuned into all these games. You're gonna watch them play.
Any game they lose is a game that I like to watch.
Yeah. Well, hey, I mean,
classic Mike.
The way you guys are going back and forth in the Cotton Bowl doesn't bode well for you this year.
Oklahoma, baby.
Let us know what you think in the comments. Drop subscribe if you're new here. We're covering college football the remainder of the offseason, of course, until we hit week 1 running. Drop a subscribe, and we'll see you on the next one.
Hook 'em horns, OU sucks.